Greetings, comrades. I'm still following the discussion on X Space. It's a recording, it runs for about 7 hours. So I'm still trying to follow the discussions. But I got then a small clip from that recording, and it's a bit worrying. Because, firstly, let's get this right. we need to get this right. South Africans have a right to raise issues that affect them in their own country. They have a right. Be they economical, political, they have a right. It doesn't matter how they characterize those issues that affect them. They have a right to do so. It is in their country. Right? That does not make them xenophobic. We need to be clear on this. And secondly, it does not make them to be anti a particular group. We have a right in our own country as Zimbabweans or any other nationality for that matter to raise issues that affect us. It is within our rights to do so, right? So we cannot therefore, when we are in South Africa for economic reasons, begin to say South African laws are anti-Zimbabwean. Cannot be correct. Because South Africa is a sovereign state. It has a right to come up with its own laws in the manner in which it wants to. Just like we have that right to do so in Zimbabwe. So we should not be blaming South Africans to an extent that we are beginning once again to use social media wrongly and begin to discuss how we can attack South Africans. This is uncalled for. You remember that lady ended up apologizing because she wanted to get some likes and so on whatever, Twitter, whatever, whether YouTube. But that's not how you do it. It's wrong. If South Africans, or the South African government for that matter, come up with the laws that we feel they are anti-us, the first question we must ask ourselves is, why are we not coming up with the laws that are pro-us in our own country? Right? We generally agree that the reasons why in South Africa is because we have a non-caring government in Zimbabwe. And our criticism must be against the government of Zimbabwe, not against the government of South Africa. We should be actively organizing ourselves to say we want a government in Zimbabwe that represents our interests. But what is surprisingly is that some would then use X Space and other social media platforms to attack the South African government are members of the ruling party in Zimbabwe. If not members, they are apologists for ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe. They cannot call on ZANU-PF, call it out, when it violates the rights of its own citizens. But they want to call out the ANC-led government in South Africa. That's not all. It's just it's just simple. It's not all. We can't demand accountability from the ANC government when we can't do the same of the Zimbabwean government. It is not on. So our advice is, let's take our energy to Zimbabwe. If South Africa, if we feel that the immigration laws in South Africa are anti-us. Let's just reflect and say, why did we leave Zimbabwe? Why then don't we, as a collective, correct what is wrong in Zimbabwe, leave South Africa with its anti-migrant laws? It's just as simple as all that, right? That does not mean to say that we cannot raise certain issues with the South African government. No, it doesn't say so. But the level of criticism that is on social media, particularly this X space that I'm listening to, it's worrying. Like I'm saying, some people clap hands for ZANU-PF when it rigs elections, when it refuses opposition supporters or members to hold rallies, when it set up roadblocks inside Zimbabwe in the build-up to an election and withdrew ideas from young people so that they will not cast their votes. They clap hands for ZANU-PF when it does that. The very same people then run to South Africa and climb on a rooftop and say South African immigration laws are anti-Zimbabweans. No. Then some spend 7 hours on X space to say, no, we should hire gangs, drive South Africans to a little country called Lesotho. This is uncalled for. This is uncalled for. Let's desist from doing such. Let us accept that we are victims in Zimbabwe. We have come to South Africa for economic reasons. We must work, conduct a business, study, with the idea that at some point we'll go back to Zimbabwe and rebuild our economy. And our focus must be on building an environment in Zimbabwe that allows us to elect leadership that we want. We should not demand accountability from a foreign government or from our host government. We must demand accountability from our own government in Zimbabwe. So let us not abuse social media spaces to launch an attack on South Africa. Let's rather launch an attack on those that have chased us through their economic policies that have driven us out of Zimbabwe, than to blame those who have opened their doors, given us payments, right? Allowed us to work in their country, allowed us to conduct business, to study. We need to be grateful. Please share this video, like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise, goodbye.
Noti kumboti maindia kana manigerian pakempton apa akavadrowera raini akati hamukurosi apa manigerian akabata mamacheti vakaitei
even masomalians vakaudza kuti uyai tikuda shure panapa vanoteerera mazimbabwenzi bhozi mazimbabwenzi vanonangirira mungourawa henyu munyarara mourawa munyarara
because we don't have that unity, Bashona, and we need to get that unity. And if we form a bond, oh my God, South Africans will run away from their own country and seek asylum, in what's that small little country, Lesotho or something like that.
The most
community tikabatana kuti vanotungamira zinofobhikiwo vavaya movatagetawo tingatadze kubatanidza mari chaiyo yekuita mahiti vanhu mune magenga akawanda kuti ukapa
vakarohwa pane chimwe